Good morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unc and Market Monk. Morning, P. How's your week?
Really good. Just kind of a crazy week in the casino that whenever that happens, the plans for the next day kind of change for me. I just sort of back off. I mean, there's no reason to be real involved when you when you go to, 120 to 2000 overnight. You just call it good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was good. And I mean, really, where that there haven't been I haven't posted a lot in there. And despite having some pretty active earnings week. So I'm just looking for something in particular, and I've seen that with a couple of them. I don't really think it's a. I mean, I so there's sort of two stories going on. I mean, you've got software companies, um, some of which are just getting pummeled on earnings. It's usually guidance. They don't really have trouble with numbers. I still think the expectations are a little low.
Low.
And but it's what they say during guidance, and particularly ones that are impacted by AI or is perceived that they are, like Trade Desk. And even given that Trade Desk had that dramatic drop, it's still to a spot we've seen before. I mean, it's not breaking new ground with lows or anything like that. So I think it kind of sets back up, and we'll can could grind and recover. And then the other one is anything with semiconductors and the hardware side. It gets very dicey with what they say during earnings, and so AMAT was like that. I saw the flow on that. Well, there were a couple things. So it fell to like 161. I saw flow to like 170. The contract I posted was 180 because I always kind of look if I can go 10 bucks in the money. That's kind of where I want to be. Implied volatility at that point doesn't even matter because you're so far in the money. But anyway, chips where they have to actually talk about the demand in a physical sense as opposed to fabless chip firms, the AVGOs and Nvidias of the world, that it's just sort of look to the future without having to deal with the physical factory side of it. The physical side's always going to be more vulnerable to me when it comes to earnings in this environment. When you have products and you're shipping them around and you have warehouses full of crap, so all of that can lead to those getting punished. But even so, fall to the 160s, it was just there in June, so it's nothing. It seems dramatic, but um, it could just go mid candle or retrace highs or do whatever. So these are my favorite setups, really, where it someone gets punished on a big event, news or earnings, whatever, and then I can see how they set back up, and then I can talk to you about RT, where the levels and all of that. So as fun as the casino is, the big opportunity comes after that. So I'll continue to look for that as we go through this earnings calendar.
Man, I like how thorough you are there, but we definitely we're different, P. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm I big note start this conversation. We normally stay the course, stay in our little box, but that last five last week with the weed call, um, really kind of opened up, started the week out pretty good for me, and um, the you're getting everything right now, and I kind of wanted to cover that in this part, but like the so be a little lengthy and a little namey, but names and brands that you kind of just know are just in the gutter with the Bosch and Lom and Piton. The
Yeah.
range there is just amazing. You kind of know where to buy, where to look for the follow through at. We've had that now for a couple of years. Well, let's just say a year on those two names, but it's been a little longer. 840, what's up? Um, then the ones we're just kind of recycling, the little cheap shit that I follow that you kind of rinse and repeat. That slogan came up with your Open, your Givo, and that SGML right now are just they're just offering. We move 5 to 7, just do the math on that, and you can play that over
Yeah.
and over, and big picture still there. And the the Open move, I think we both have a big number, and Givo. Um, I know we talk about oil a lot, but I remember when I was grasping at straws first trying to talk to oil with you, and it was that Gush and Givo for me, and to hopefully see that story pan out. And then some big names too, P. Don't search the group on Lowe's and Johnson and Johnson. Those are perfect
Yeah.
bottom dip opportunities long term. I think PNW's doing that right now. And then some real shitty shit like Wolf and Tilray. You had opportunities on both of those to either sell some free shares if you had them from previous moves, or just kind of scalp a move. So just a big week, and we're in fucking August. I mean, we're in August.
Yeah.
Normally it's so called quiet right now, and like you just all I said midweek, and this is kind of what I was referring to. Like all styles are covered. I don't care how you're trading. You really should have an opportunity right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Open's a really good example. I bought Open way in the gutter, under $1.70 here and there. And then on that, that huge pop, you really have to pretty much clear that out. There is no
Mm-hmm.
reason to go from, 354 back under 2 when back under 2 is probably happening. But second opportunity there,
Yeah, we got that
that
465.
$2, yeah, the $2 strikes, right? And then the 150 strikes, and then the 3 staying relevant. Even without our levels, I mean, I could just read that and trade it. When we have the levels too to re-enter, then you take a shot at it, and it's still, you can get a lot of shares for a stock this cheap. And so that's the scale in and out is much easier. And it's one of the things I like about smalls and the park and wait thing. And I think, sometimes some of the questions about how to deal with these, they make it more complicated than how I approach it, which is fine. I mean, people trade all kinds of ways, but I basically, the what park and wait to me means is, um, into the first big move, I'm selling quite a bit, and then I just have an idea. I have some stop that, like, well, I'm just not going to let it go below this spot. But I want to give it some room, and I want to keep some. And the main reason I want to keep some is because I don't really like buying it again. And that was what Rigetti was for me, and
Yeah, yeah.
some of the other quantum stuff. The entry on Rigetti was so good that I don't want to buy that thing for $7 or $8 or $12 or whatever. I'd rather just keep some. But then the character of the stock kind of matters. Some of them just get it in this channel, the rinse and repeat thing, where you might go ahead and clear. I go ahead and clear all of it out. But I think the reason I say they make it too complicated is, um, you should know, like, when you're already in the trade before the move, what you're going to do when the move happens. Not that it pops up and now you're agonizing over of what should I do with this position? What do you guys do here and there? And where do you re-enter? All of that. Most of these have enough history where you just make the game plan beforehand, and your plays are scripted, like, to use a football term. We're just going to do this on this stock. I don't need to think about it. If this happens, I do this. If this happens, I do that. And you already know. And so, the park and wait, the wait part of it gives you time to figure out, what you're going to do. I have confidence that, given the flow setup on some of these, that they're going to see those prices. They're going to see those numbers. It's just, where do I want to sell? What am I happy with? And then ultimately, I sell too early. There's another one. Move on to the next one. Not a big deal.
Yeah, definitely individual names. It's a little different, but I just try to keep it simple, and it's why I always stress sizing. Um,
Yeah.
if if you can, you gotta kind of understand the range and your sizing and how that range is going to affect your sizing. But I'm a firm believer in kind of what you said. I just say it a real simpler. I buy stuff that I just believe down the road, it's going to be worth more. It's undervalued here today, and
Yeah.
it's that simple. And um, the familiarity really helps with some of those numbers. Um, and and then anytime you get the news, you again you take the percentage. For me, I like to definitely take half off um, on anything that I know is kind of range bound at 25%. And I'm just going to
Yeah.
re-enter. But the thing is that I don't think most people get is that that money is now allocated to re-enter when I can get a pullback or something. And
Yeah.
the other one, the stop loss is moved up a little tighter, so that might get flushed out if I do get a re-entry. And you kind of just play the channel. And instead of what I wanted to say in the run up to this, with listening to you, is people they enter the trade and they're like, all right, where's it's $5, where's the where's the 12? That's the top end on something, or 10.
Yeah.
Where's the 11? And they're not playing the 5 to 7 at
Right.
all.
Yeah.
And then they just leave the trade altogether, and they not only not play the 5 to 7, they don't get the big move. And the best one I can think of now that was like concrete for me. I mean, what else do I got to say besides my kids 20K into it? What else do I got to say to you to tell you I believe in it? But with SoFi,
So 5. Yeah.
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 I mean, what else do I got to say? I mean, CEO's
Right.
buying at 5. We're in a 7 to 9 channel. Don't buy over 13. That's all I ever said about that stock, and I said it over and over and over and over again. That's how simple you got to keep plans. Now, in the shittier stocks, you got to have a little different mindset. Like, thank you for the $200 is the plan, and that's open. If you're
Yeah.
gonna put,
Yeah.
some of you can put 2K into a stock. That's what Pele does, and just says thank you when it gives him $200. It's not about the time. It's not about the day. It's not about the news. It's about when it hits the number, and he just takes his money. And some days that $200 is a little bit more than $200. And that's when for me, you do keep a larger percentage.
Yeah.
If Open would have held that 465 and wouldn't just been a needle dick through it for 5 minutes, I'm probably keeping half of it. But as soon as we start breaking back down, four cycles gone, I'm out. Just take your 100% and
Yeah.
set up again. And that's how you kind of. Tilray just did the same thing. Tilray got up to, what, 53, I think? And now it's back to a
Yep.
buck. Same thing this week. As soon as you look like the weakness, we'll just let it go, let it set back up. Um, yeah, it's not the financial decision and the financial outcome is what they're basing their plans off of, and not the actual reason and thesis, which we press the thesis is, and the longevity of the companies should force your decisions. Like you're not going to really get back. I don't care like when you bought coin when we were arguing about it, and
Yeah.
even when I said don't buy it, even the 225s, you're not bagged. It's a good company.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I remember, so SoFi, and on this little chart here, this was before I even knew how to
Let me switch to
draw
you.
a line that went all the way across the screen. So that's
Is
how
it
old this
13?
is.
Yeah, it's 13.
Yeah, yeah, it's like mine was like 1359 or
Yeah,
something like
don't
that.
buy over that.
And my plan when it was sort of in the gutter was this channel's going to come back someday.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole idea. And so the flow on it was would be around 15 or whatever. Um and then once you're here, to me, you're kind of in investor mode at this point, for what you have left. But yeah, I think when I see people where we've got an individual name, especially in a sector that has some big story behind it, and they'll get kind of impatient, and I don't know why they're impatient, or if they're oversized, or whatever, or they'll just get bored with it and move on. Uh, that It's the wait part of the park and wait, is
Yes.
how
Yeah.
I make money on smalls. And so in the sizing, I'm not going to get bored with it, because the sizing is such that, like, I'm willing to just let that money sit there. I don't need to use that money for anything else today. So it can just sit there, and I don't need to move on. And the flow setup is there, sector story is there. Um, I'll just wait. I don't want to try to time it. I don't want to look at a minute chart on a small cap. That's just me and my style. That it's there's kind of two types of trades I like. The quickest of quick hitters, pretty good at those on pivots, options, all that kind of stuff. And then the park and wait, and 80% of what I do is in that. And you don't see it in my professor notes because there really isn't much to say. I said all I want to say about it in the hot lists, right? Voice chat top list, like that page says what I want to say. Here's the flow paired with your level. Here's what I'm doing, and then sell it when it goes up. And then that's it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
those are the
it's wanting it all
simple
though
ones.
is the problem. That's the
Yeah,
number one. If
yeah,
if they wrote down what am I, what are the questions I would like answered, and the first one would always be for most people is where's the top at, and it's just not.
right.
It's not reasonable. It's not. It's not a reasonable expectation.
Within the next 4 to 6 months, I'm going to post Teton Leaps 35C. I think I'll probably see that. Just given what I see on it, I kind of know at some point whales are going to be like, all right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and take it there. And what I don't want is I don't want people to see 35C and say, well, I'm going to sell when it hits 35.
Yeah, lift,
There's no reason to think
lift.
to approach it like that. But that flow is still it's important, especially because if we do get in a channel, they're going to protect the lower end of that channel so that those leaps don't get in trouble.
Hmm.
That's what they're all that's what they're all about. So that's where the manipulation will come in to protect it and to build a floor. And you should care more about that floor than you care about it hitting $35. As far as what we're doing, in my opinion.
I would for the people that want the bigger moves, I would and I never talk about it here, but I do talk about it in our private session a lot because it's relevant, obviously, to what we do. But insider ownership and floats and share structure or float size
Yeah,
is very
yeah,
important to the big moves. I'm just gonna throw that out
right.
there. Yeah, and then look at some financials after that. Real quick before we go, because I do want to, I'll go to wherever you want to go. But
Yeah.
SoFi, you know my one line on the chart. It's on the screen if you got it up.
Oh, let me see it. Oh, yep, yeah, right.
You know why? You know why? You
Why
know
is
why?
that? That's
CEO.
where you bought, right?
The CEO
That's
bought
what
it.
CEO bought.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. CEO
yeah,
bought. That's it. Keep it simple out there, guys. Keep it
yep.
simple.
All right, so I wanted to get option questions sometimes, and I'm glad people ask them, but I think sometimes it's the wrong question or questions, and it has to do with the finding the perfect strike at the perfect expiration at and just really kind of obsessing over that. And there it is important to think about strikes and expirations. You don't want to get burned on weeklies. You want to kind of understand how contracts move. But on some of these setups, I mean, you can, while you're fretting over that, you're basically like missing the whole move. And so LLY, my note was about as simple as it could be initially in this move, and it was like 640. Whales care a lot about 640, and I don't even have a line drawn because it's new that they did this. It was that earnings drop. It's like where things set up after that. So like if you buy under 640, I would just say calls with time or whatever, and it could be a number of different ones that and you caught even a third of this move. um, you did extremely well, hundreds of percent on those options. And if you held the whole move, you're kind of a psychopath, but that's fine if you did that too, because it can flush pretty hard. But there were just re-entries almost every day. You can even just see it on. I don't know why I'm on 45 minutes, but 15.
I was gonna ask
But yeah,
that. Okay.
every morning Yeah, every morning it would give a little bit up and then just take off, and it just kept doing it, over and over and over again. And the idea that I feel like people with options, people are very scared to lose money, which that's a good instinct to have. But the solution to that is not to, just be really, really cautious. Like my kids learning to drive, and being too cautious is a very bad thing when driving. I mean, especially like you're
Oh
merging
yeah.
or whatever. And so like when you're getting on the highway, options move very quickly. You have to be decisive, and you have to just say, boom, I'm doing this. And
You're
your
better
the
off
plan
being
for
the
your
fastest getting on the freeway. You're better off
yeah,
being the fastest
exactly.
car. Yeah.
And so, you should know, here's my hedge, here's what I'm buying. You know, I'm I'm going for it. And I can't really help you very much with the perfect strike at the perfect time. It depends on so many things. Like what how much money are you wanting to put into this? If I tell you to buy what I buy, that means that you're having the same risk tolerance as me. You're sitting in front of a screen watching this, that you are very fast getting a fill, that you can see the spread and you can say, okay, I'm going to try to get a fill right here. So like it'd be a bad idea for me to tell you exactly what I'm doing, because you're not executing it the same way that I am. So I can't take you through that whole process. You have to figure that out for yourself. So what I would much rather people do is come to me with, this is my plan. This is what I'm thinking of buying on this. And then I can tell you, I can ask questions and figure out, is this strike really going to work? Or some strikes I'll see, I'm like, no, you're way too far out of the money. Or, I'd give this more time, or whatever. And we can kind of have that conversation. I don't think, like, looking at, like, so Kevin, when do you press the button? Which button? At which second do you press the button? That's really not going to help you. I think you have to approach it from the opposite direction of that. Here's what I've studied. Here's the option charts I've looked at. And if you haven't done that, then you shouldn't be in options at all. Like, options have charts. You need to look at those and how they move,
Mm.
and then come to me with what you're doing, and then it's much easier for me to help you, because we can't press the button for you. And I learned this a long time ago. Like I would post alerts in an old room we were in, and I would, like, 8 out of 10 would be green. People would still lose money on half of those because they were indecisive or waiting for confirmation. You cannot do that with options, because if when you're someone's leaving the room while you're entering it when you do that. So anyway, I guess long story short, tell me what you're doing rather than obsessing over what I'm doing, and then we can figure out something better for you.
I'm not trading options, B. um,
I know. Yeah,
um,
I know.
uh,
And I think some people should reach that conclusion too. I
yes.
mean, if you don't have time, it's like, well, I got to drop my kid off from school, but then I'm going to sit in front of the computer and now I'm going to trade some options. You probably definitely missed setup in my notes. My notes are built around when I can do it, which is like the first hour. And that's what I'm after. I'm after, a stock the day after earnings, or a flush below a pivot, or continuation from flow I saw, whatever. And I know an hour before the market opens what I'm probably going to do,
Sure.
and that's what I put in the notes. So you try to trade that note at 11:30. I don't know. It's there's so much going
Yes.
on. What maybe the 10-year yield spiked or something. I mean, it's a different setup at that point. You're dealing with time is so much of a factor. In classical rhetoric, it's called kairos. It's like at the right moment. So with
Hmm.
options, it has to be the right moment. Not all setups are going to work throughout the whole day. If you want that day to day, I mean, when Goose is firing off That's where that is. And I don't even mess with a lot of that, but sometimes I'll see the same thing, or I'll be in QQQ and grab a quick $50 or whatever. So if you like that style, that is in the room, but that's definitely not what my notes are. So that context is important too.
No, just trade the news. That's the best way to go. Just look in the news page and follow those stocks. Make a watch list. They'll be easy to
Yeah.
trade if you want to day trade. Yeah, that's where I was gonna start. I remember, man, I used to pound the table because we were trading backside, and I'd say it to you in this format constantly. Like, it's gonna be a time, P, when I'm gonna be back to swing trading only, sir, because that's what I like to do, and we're definitely back
Yeah.
into that. Because the day trading stuff is hard, and one of the first things I thought of when you said, about giving prices and stuff. I don't like to call myself the Furu or whatever, but I'm posting stuff about stocks in the room, so call it what it is. But I use the word ish a lot, and
Yeah.
the psychs a lot, psych levels a lot. Just $5, because it's like you're saying posting a level, which I have mentioned lately. Like I've capped some of my day charts like during the day. Like I would never post this level because just like you're saying, it's something that's good at 8:30 that you got 10-15% off of. Ain't good at 11. Ain't gonna be
Yeah.
good at 11, and it ain't gonna be good in 2 weeks when you see that note or try to search the group. So ours is built more of a like a real level or a long term level as opposed to a day trade level. Um, I do day trade for I hate to say it this way, but it's the only way I got more for fun. But I've always looked at it, and it's a slower moving train than your option shit. But I've always looked at it as I'm taking an asset or I'm buying an asset and I'm gonna get that back, but it's gonna make me some money short term. So if the $200 makes me, 230, or the $2,000 makes me, 23 into 2,300 in a short period of time, I'm just taking that. So 30 cents is important to me on these small ones sometimes. You know what I mean? And not everyone can trade that style. Um,
Yeah.
the golden rule I have on that is you don't turn a flipping day trade into a swing trade into an investment into a long term hold. You got to stick on that plan and kind of take the punches. But yeah, I think elephant in the room. People trade options, won't trade shares like that, and look for alerts because they need that money today or they need that instant
Yeah.
gratification. And I said when we started this, we're not loading calls and puts at Power Hour. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to build substantial, stuff that's going to be repeatable. That you're going to have to fund your account, as we always talk about. You're not going to
Yeah.
just take $200, $300 and somehow retire from your fucking job following us. You're good if you work hard. You're going to compound your money and do really fucking well in the long run. So, just yeah. So I kind of try. I've always tried to stay away from that, and you do a good job of blending. Like, hey, this is where I'm gonna be, people, and turning it into daily content. So, um,
Yeah.
I think that's really why you get that is because, well, one, you're good at it. They see the victories, right? So they think, hey, I can just push a button with him, and they miss the lessons involved. And we don't have first quarter, right? Like we just it's kind
Yeah.
of you get on the train whenever. So the new people come in, and I think that gets it's just the normal mentality when you come into a room. What's up?
Yeah. Oh,
What's
right.
up?
And
Hold on.
I
What's up, Taylor? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I think it's definitely a process. And so my comment here is kind of trying to help people along in that process. I think like secondary is a good example of someone who definitely kind of found his approach to options, shares, blending the two. And he ended up in a similar kind of place to what I do. And so that's just sort of what I look for, for people. And the other thing with when you start trading options that you can't do is like worry about max return on that contract that you bought. So when LLY on last Friday, dropped under 640, and that was a spot to buy it. Um, it pulled all the way back there again, and so you can't just say like, well, I bought 660C on Monday. If I would have kept it all week, it would have been worth $6,000. Look at what it did. I mean, if you didn't sell on this spike on Monday, I don't know what the hell you're doing because you gave up, you know, most of that move, got back under 640 again. And so you have to sell on those spikes with options. If you got something that for 3 months from now, maybe you kept it through the whole move. That's fine because big picture, it probably was gonna at least mid candle, which is what it did. Then that's that's kind of a different story. But yeah, never get caught up in I would have made 10,000%
Yeah, no.
on a trade. You made 500% or 300%. That's just greed and stupidity. And the people who talk about the numbers like that aren't getting those kind of returns anyway. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't really
and
worry about it.
kind of bump it back to our room one more time. Like the people that we've been what we're 4 years in or whatever. Me and you at
Yeah.
this point in time, but the people that I see that come in and just do well from the rip are the ones that come in and are like, I'm saying, they're like, oh, I had 2,000, now I have 22, 2,300. Thank you, and not the ones that are
Yeah.
like, where's this going? And
Right.
they just repeat that process over and over again. So make 10% great again in that regard. Um, Professor, let me read you a couple notes because one of them's going to lead the spy, and one of
Yeah.
them's a couple of them are probably just going to be good combos. But it's that 660 being the top. We kind of identified that real early on, and short term here we've been saying that or I've been saying proverbial we um, the market's not slowing down, so we're getting frothing over to other sectors and the smaller bullshit. The volume's been great, but I'm noticing it's back to that market. Excuse me, like the farmers market apple analogy I've always used, right? Like they try to show up every day with the right amount of apples,
Mhm.
to sell, and they've kind of got that down. But when some of these news on these smalls come in, they're blowing the stand out right away, right? They don't have any apples, and
Right.
that's driving the price up. But they get the apples the next day or in a day or two, and that's where that bleed out comes back to the stability where it was, or maybe just a tick higher than where it was. Um, I think a lot of that has to do with the new settlement rules, the change from T1 to T2, or from T2 to T1. Um, but it's good for the summer. This is good, borderline great volume for August. Since I've been a screen watcher, I've never seen volume this good in August. And
Yeah.
last but not least, man, news is king. It's the trigger for that cycle I just talked about with bringing the volume in, getting the good pops. Um, ERs are kind of a crapshoot because it's the guidance news. Which way do they go? And
Yes.
the political news or just your regular partnership news is the way better stuff I'm seeing. So, but overall, that big picture, having all that together, easy to just take the money, find the next one, take the money, find the next one.
Yeah, and the take the money part's important because you do get a lot of pop and fade happening. And that that follow through can be tricky and difficult. And you see once again, the I always go to the 10 year. 10 years has been fairly predictable. It's near 4.2, pops back up. 4.2 to 4.5. And as long as it stays there, we're fine. But you're not gonna Spy's not gonna have a great Friday when the 10 years popping off. Given where it's at, things kind of cool off a bit. I talked before. I think is the for the broader market, that one of the rotations you'll probably see is some of the boring Dow Jones stuff
Mm-hmm.
um, does well, and while big tech, cools off a bit. And as I say that, I see people want to full port Google. I mean, like Google options in particular, and I don't get why with Google that got under 165, why people weren't. Why you like it then? I don't know. Um, up here at 204. I don't. And again, talk about waiting for confirmation. Wait for Google to get over $200, and now you like it. I don't really understand that. But yeah. So I see a rotation into some of the Dow Jones names, but those aren't going to be great share side to me. But they were really good as far as options went. So like DE, talk about guidance. They always have a grumpy CEO. They drop on earnings very often, but they bounce back quickly. And this one did. It's like one little short tap um, at 470, and then boom, it took off. And my note was all about that and whatever. But when you mentioned Lowe's, that's another one that's in
J&J.
there.
J&J, I
Home
fucking
Depot, J and J.
nailed that.
UNH, has its own crazy stuff going on, but that's a big one in there too. So yeah, so I see those, but a move into smalls and the individual names in smalls is I still think the best place to be. And when we say small caps are looking good, we're not talking IWM. Someone should actually look at what's in IWM. Most of those aren't the names that we're talking about, the exception of Elf, which probably shouldn't even still be in there. But I mean, that's really the only one that I
That's a
can think
mid.
of that
That's a mid for me.
it is, and it's a mid in terms of market cap too. But
Yeah, that's
it's
a
just
mid.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that's maybe the only one in the top 15 of that I talk about in there. So we look at smalls differently than the IWM apes, and we've done better than them. So anyway, yeah, I definitely I think that continues as a broader
Is
market trend.
is that a good time for me to say you're welcome, P?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah. When we started, you talk about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that what I do was applicable to small caps. I was very skeptical about that, but give it a try, and you know, some of the better reads come out of that. And then you're reading huge stocks you never would have even looked at. So that's
Yeah.
part of why our whole setup works so well.
No, yeah, like
Um,
the last three you've talked about, I would have never touched with a 10-foot pole.
yeah.
I can
Right.
tell you.
All right. So
Will
let
you
me.
do some? Can you go back to the 10-year for 1 second? I just want to get one more
Yeah.
thought on the 10-year from you. Will you put that on a weekly? You ever done that before?
I don't think I have actually. Yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of, well, because when you're talking about like these moves don't really mean nothing in the big picture. Well, there's your big picture, and you kind of see, you can almost see a weekly wick floor there, um,
Yeah.
as it building here, like building a higher spot there. Yeah, but you're range bound almost over the last, almost the whole year in there. You can see it, 4.5, what
Yeah.
418.
Yeah. Right. And bonds are a big obsession with the Trump administration, sort of behind the curtain. They want to really get a handle on the bond market. And I mean, why and what their larger goals are, and why they would seemingly intentionally devalue the dollar. I mean, all of that. Go. I got an economics building right next. I can actually see it from my window. It's right across the campus here. Go and roll over there if you want to really get into all that. But in terms of like for us, um, that the 10-year kind of staying calm is kind of what you look for. And when it's spiking, you just want to just be mindful of positions you're in, and then the pop and fade, sell into the fat green candles,
Yeah,
and you don't get caught in the fade. That's all you do. I mean, that's just what you do, because you're going to probably get the fat green candles in the setups we have. So you just sell into those and don't and have a plan for when it fades, and then we go from there. But that's very much the environment that we're in.
yeah, that was a good. That's gonna stick for a while. That selling the fat green candles. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I mean,
Yeah, but people don't
some
do it.
people need it.
It's so obvious that people don't do it.
Yeah, some people, they buy something, they want to hold it forever, get the most out of it, and they don't want to risk anything doing it. and
Yeah,
that's
and
just
then
ain't
you
gonna
then you
work.
run into the other thing I say, you become a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
So that's a way to cope with bag holding that I see people do. So we don't do that. Much as I do like a good conspiracy. You know, I'll be a reader rather than a
You
participant.
just wait till the last five, sir.
I want to touch on some boring stuff real quick, and then get to those SPY numbers.
Okay.
The So copper. Let me get off the weekly here. Go to 4 hours. Yeah, copper. Showing some stability here at this spot. So that consolidation is good. If you're in any of those, you're going to really want to be patient. I'm starting to see February flow on things, and this is one of them. So when I look at basic materials, it's not September, November anymore. It's like January to March. So I think you'd want to have that in mind.
The copper stocks
Gold,
didn't match the copper commodity.
yeah,
Just saying.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. And then silver and gold is pretty quiet week. Silver, I think, still kind of a red day ad kind of deal. If you get silver approaching a 1% drop on the day, I'd look at
Yeah.
some of our names
The the
for some spots.
the gold.
And then gold, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't start going long gold up here, but gold
No,
setup has some staying power, and I think you still just look for news on some smaller miners
I've
if you
had
want to get into
I have
any of those.
some free shares in several miners, and what I've noticed
Um,
is that the miners.
Natural gas,
Pete,
you know,
you not hear me?
same kind of deal. I really don't see any big drops under, to test two or anything like that. I think we'll just stay in this 3 to 350 area for a while. But big picture move is 5 to 7, so um, that's going to make you wait. And oil's fine. I mean, oil, the stock setup in the stocks looks a little better than chart on oil, and um, yeah, I mean, this could stay in the 60 to 68 area for a while. I mean, like a year, I'm thinking that's possible. But anyway, I like a lot of oil setups. There's a couple big ones I like, and then a couple smalls are already well above our entry, and I'm just still parked and waiting for the next leg up on those.
Can you hear me, Pete? Professor.
And
I can't.
can I do it? Can I talk Bitcoin?
Yeah, you can't hear me though. Yeah, so I want to start on gold. Go jump back to gold a little bit. I've
Yep.
noticed the stuff. I'm in a bunch of positions like free share side, right? And none of the ones that have gotten the good ER follow through, like they've been some extremely good ER follow through candles, have been the ones that I'm in. But I'm still gonna hold the ones I'm in. So hopefully when it's their
Yeah.
turn. But very hard to enter up there. But they're finally getting that follow through of like, yeah, gold's worth more. We mined some, and now we're selling it for more. So if you're in those, I would stay. But again, entry's really really hard if you don't follow the company well. And then
Yeah.
silver, yeah, I'm not shut up and buy, but I'm like have some positions in the silver charts. Even stuff like SA, it's already moved 50%, and I haven't sold much of it. Um,
Yeah.
so AG, I've kind of been a little bit more out of, and I'm trying to get back into currently, but that's just because it had the move that I planned for. Um, and then oil with you, I think we're gonna get some. I think we're gonna get some movement there in the bigger names in that
Yeah.
like that BP News or something like that. And still with you that I call them the smalls, but the midstreams and the smalls and stuff are going to be better. And you're kind of seeing that come to for fruition in some of the names right now too. So
Yeah. People who make pipelines, rent out equipment,
yeah,
um, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, a Trump of all things with oil, like he's gonna he gets distracted and does other stuff, but he wants to see shovel in the ground. He wants to see a drill in the ground. And like, so like all of the companies that, are that make money off of that process, irrespective of what the price of oil is. I think that's a pretty good place to be. And I still like the offshore stuff. Um, Still like West African type oil stuff. You're going to see me talk about ones like that in the next couple months. So yeah, I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah, I mean, sure, if you're short term on that area, just companies that have energy in the name. I know it sounds stupid, but
Yeah, yeah.
for some reason they just do well first.
Well, right, and I've honestly like I've been on utilities for
Oh yeah,
a while now, and just pounding the table on that. And uh, B was really the first one that sort of where I noticed this, and I did well on that. I didn't keep
never,
enough,
yeah, never did.
but but yeah, even I mean, I'm there. There's utility stocks that are trading for like 600 something dollars, where the flow is 1,000, and it's plausible that they hit that. So, so that's going to be a big thing. Um, that story's not going away. Need more power, and all the data centers and all that stuff are really going to push those. All right, and then on the uranium, um, yeah, the pullback's getting bought up here. Again, one of those charts that you see the move after the fact, but I still like a lot of those. We still talk about a lot of them. They show up in collabs for a reason. So I would stay vigilant on the uranium stuff too.
Hey, I don't normally show anything in our group. In
I lose you again.
yes,
All right, hang on.
I normally don't share stuff from our group on this format, but
Yeah,
I wanted to search BE to see when it came up because I was like, I think I dropped that randomly first, but I did. So I went and found it, and I did. I've dropped it 522 this time around.
yeah,
But
yeah.
with it, UUU 520 and NXE, just kind of all in the similar. I mean, all what we're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about here.
yeah,
Just all what we're talking about here 2 months ago, and yeah, doing well in all
yeah,
those names. Um, uranium's the long term trade for me, P.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And just stay on them. Um,
Yep.
Bitcoin. I don't have a Bitcoin chart in here, but I think we're 117 currently.
Yeah, yeah. So 118. Uh, some of it depends on the exchange you're looking at, but yeah. So we had a move kind of towards the middle of our predictions here, closer to yours. I didn't get the move into the the 132 still kind of what I'm after, but yeah, now we're consolidating here under 120. Feels like a disaster to all the leveraged people, whatever. But um, I'm still reading MSTR. I still post that a lot. 370 is a huge spot for that one. Even Friday, it sold off and then tried to recover back to that. So that's gonna stay pretty active. Probably does need some kind of news for the big follow through to my target. I don't know that it can just momentum of the chart can take it up there or anything like that. So I think you do want to be careful with Bitcoin up here, and to re-enter a lot of them, you want a very bad day or a bad week, and then some setups will emerge, I think.
I don't got nothing. I don't like Bitcoin. I just like pulling numbers out of my ass. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Love you,
So
P.
yeah, so it's another week closer to stop talking about Bitcoin, and so we'll see. But I'm just on this 132. I'm just looking for that. So we'll see if we'll see what this week brings. And there's some options trades there. There isn't a lot share side though on it, which is why you don't talk about it because you like the shares.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
I'm just first in, first out, and you're every bit of the move there, the
yeah,
full
yeah,
story, and that's just it's good for people that if the safest time is in that sector is when we line up, is what it
yep.
is.
All right, so SPY real quick. I don't have a lot new here. I would say that the current floor that I see, the kind of neutral floor hot potato that they keep tossing back and forth, is very much this March 585 E. So that's a lot of time, and it's a reasonable number on any kind of sustained pullback, and they don't even really need it to pull all the way back there. They probably prefer it not do that because I think it's a hedge. But anyway, that's the kind of the downside number. Upside's tricky because it's all a lot of it's futures driven and zero DTE clouds the picture. But I would say somewhere in the middle 650s is what I see. But I know you mentioned like 660 could very well wick up to that though easily.
That's just the end of the year target that I think the talking heads had more in mind in general. So
Yeah.
that's where most of the money's placed, I assume. If you look at the weekly kind of shows it the best in my opinion. But anytime we've kind of like been in this trend of tight consolidation, gap up, a little bit of pullback to a higher low, tight consolidation, gap up, little pullback to a higher low, over and over again. And we definitely had that gap up here. So looking for that again, pullback consolidation on this chart. The 580 sounds ridiculous. I think the sky is falling, mop heads panicking, bears come out of the closet number 630, and
Mhm.
it won't last. It won't last.
Yeah.
That's just where
I'm with you.
I'm at.
But the one thing I will say with the put doesn't have that one doesn't have a complement right now. It doesn't really have I mean, because I look at like for September, the dead open interest is 525 and 530. So those are just dead. I mean, those are like $40. $40 for a SPY monthly is very much a dead contract. But uh what 585 like that to me is the low end of the boxing glove, if you will. And I don't see 610 or 620
Oh,
or anything like that to complement it. So they just haven't really set that up yet.
you know what
So that's
585 is?
what's that?
Give me a second. Hold on, let me check it up here too. It's the 50 on the weekly.
Okay, there you go.
The 50 on the weekly is right there. That's where that's. Let me see what this is up here. Yeah, no, 50 on the weekly. That's all that is. And that's a
And so
no way. That's just a no way. No way, Pete.
what could send it there? Because I mean, it's tariffs obviously can't. It would have to be just a complete black swan that no one could possibly predict.
Yeah, I
And
mean, there's enough.
you can't trade off that. I mean, like how could you? People try to, but um,
I don't even
what
see, let's
exactly
say,
is it?
China and Taiwan incident
Yeah,
happening.
that's a pre-market drop.
Yeah, I don't see it taking us
That
that far.
yeah,
No way.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And Trump putting his hands on jobs numbers and replacing people, and we're gonna figure out our methodology.
that
Uh,
that could do it. Something happened to Trump. That could do it.
oh, that's true. Yeah,
I mean,
he's a big
I'm just
mascot.
trying to think of something that would do it. And that's,
Yeah,
I mean, I can't think of like there's not like a report that's going to come out. There's not a conflict that's going to escalate. There's not a I mean, I don't see that as like some catastrophic event. I don't really see anything that's going to push us even at 600 at this point in time. We're caught up here. I guess no rate cut in September. That might make us bleed out a little bit, but that's I don't think that's
yeah.
off the table.
Well, I think to me the downside from rate cut would be more like a slow pullback, burn up a lot of leverage.
No, I'm saying not
Um,
get a rate cut.
but
If we didn't
no,
get
I know
something.
I thought, but what I'm saying is like the most likely thing to me. I think the rate cut itself
Oh,
be
sure.
like a pop and fade kind
Yeah.
of thing,
Yeah. Or just
or
a straight pullback.
sell the news or
Yep.
whatever,
Yep.
or
Yep.
straight pullback. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
but not a dramatic cratering of the market or something. But definitely you burn up some leverage, and SPY gets tough to trade and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's much more likely than the scenario, the March thing that happened, a repeat of that.
Yes.
Very hard to
Perfect.
pull off.
Perfect. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was right to the 50 on the weekly.
Yep.
um,
Exactly.
sorry, V.
Yeah.
So your top, the same question I've had for months, and I don't have the screen up to kind of decipher it myself, but still no top in, no long term 6 month out setup for them for the bigger
Uh,
fish.
no, they aren't using SPY that way in options right now, in my
Perfect.
opinion.
Perfect.
So I don't. The people who use flow to say that, they're reading it differently than what I do, and so good for them. But I don't know what they're doing. They probably don't know what they're doing. So it's, I don't see it. I see more um I use it more for a floor, and I don't have a good floor on it right now because they haven't. That March contract needs a complement. I don't see one yet.
Perfect. Awesome. You ready to work?
Yep. Do it.
Perfect. Like and subscribe link somewhere, people.